Okay, so hi everyone, and we are live. So let's wait for a couple of minutes before we start this webinar. So again, welcome to the first ever episode of the How Much Do You Really Need series. So I have with me here my good friend Argel. And while waiting for others to jump into the call, why don't you comment in the comment box below where you are watching from? Okay, and we'll try to read it one by one. So we have one viewer live now.
Hey, where are you
Hello.
from? Don't be shy, guys.
Yes.
Let us know where you're watching from.
Okay, we have 4 viewers now. Share to us where you are watching from, and so that we can greet you as well. Oh, by typing in the comment box in your Facebook.
Yes.
Wait up.
Let us know if you can hear us loud and clear too.
Yes, please. So we have 6 viewers now. Okay. So hi Ian,
Nice.
Jonathan, Dalmasio, Bato. Hi Rogin.
Hey, Raj.
So we'll just wait for one more minute before we actually start the program.
Let us know where you're from. Comment.
Yeah. Hey Ian. Kumusta?
Hey, Rajin. Where are you guys watching from? If you're from the Philippines, which part of the Philippines?
Yes.
Oh, UPLB. Wow.
Yes, UPLB.
What's up, LB?
Argel, did you go to the UP's Feb Fair?
No, I wasn't able to drop
Mm.
by.
Yeah, I heard it was fun. Well,
As always.
yeah. Okay, we have 5 viewers and we will be um Argel, are you ready to go live? Or I mean, are you ready to start?
Yep.
Okay, so sige. Good morning, Canada. Magandang gabi, Pilipinas. Welcome everyone to the first episode of the How Much Do You Really Need series. So for those who will be watching the webinar through the replay, I would like to welcome you as well. A little bit of a background. about this series. I thought about this series because I myself have been wondering how much do I really need in the different aspects of my life, such as financial, love, relationship, diet, career, and so on. So hopefully this series can help us measure if it's even possible how much we need because only us can define it. I'm hoping with the help of our expert guests, it'll be a lot more easier for us to define it or to do it. So for today's episode, it is entitled "How Much Money
Ooh.
Do You Really Need?" So I still have $1,000 bill here, even if we are here in Canada now. Okay, and so before everything else, I would like to introduce myself and our guests. Okay, so I'm Angeles, so it's Angeles in the Philippines, and I'm a certified professional coach and an energy leadership index master practitioner, and I'm a millennial career and life coach. I mainly work with millennials who are passive life strivers, held back by fear, procrastination, insecurities, and timidity from living the life they really want. So if you want to learn more about what I do and the services that I offer, kindly visit my website. It's moveforwardandop.com. So outside coaching, I'm a married guy and now a father of a one very cute baby girl and an upcoming baby boy. So I love music and I'm a drummer. I'm still in the IT field. We just migrated here in Canada almost 2 years ago. And if you're asking how old I am, yes, I am a millennial still. And like everyone who will be watching here. Okay, so enough about me. Let's talk about our guest. This guest of ours has been a long-time friend, blockmate, province mate, and he is actually the one who introduced us to financial literacy together with my wife a few years ago. So we call each other Ginoo, which is gentleman in English. And we met during our university years taking the same course, computer science. So obviously we are a little bit deviating from our course. He is focusing now on his financial coaching and me on the life coaching side. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Mr. Argel Tiburcio. Why don't you tell us more about yourself? What do you do and why you are doing it?
Thanks, Kulas, for that intro. So I'd like to talk more about myself. As Kulas said, I'm also an IT professional, but now I'm an ex-IT professional. So I am now a full-time financial planner and financial advisor. And what triggered my shift to the financial services industry? Well, I've worked for 7 years in the IT world, and I wasn't fulfilled anymore in terms of the work that I'm doing. I know it's challenging and there's nothing wrong about being employed, but I was looking for something more and more growth outside my work before. So during my work, I was already spreading financial literacy through my website, which is www.argeltiburcio.com. And I share those learning or the trainings that I've been to because I was hungry for knowledge in terms of personal finance because it was never taught in the school, especially here in the Philippines. So I thought of spreading the good news, so to speak, via my website. So I share everything about money management, personal finance, and also the mindset behind it. And after that, I also pursued more knowledge and seminars for me to equip myself. So I'm a graduate member of the Registered Financial Planners Philippines. And after the shift, after the 7 years in IT, I decided to shift work. So I dropped the corporate world entirely and went to become a financial advisor with one of the top companies here in the Philippines. And aside from that, I am also a certified investment solicitor, so I can offer mutual funds. So if you're familiar with mutual funds, maybe I can tackle that later on. And what led me to believe that I am on the right path now is the multiple evidence that I've got along the way. Like I've been invited to CNN Philippines for an interview, DZMM Teleradio, so here in the Philippines. And I've been featured on the Good Housekeeping magazine, if you know that magazine. And a lot more websites. And that made me believe that those are the evidence that the shift from IT to finance was right. So, aside from that, I'm also a licensed real estate broker here in the Philippines. And I also speak and train in front of the, well, I started in the real estate industry. I taught personal growth, and then now I speak in schools, universities about personal finance. And of course, I also enjoy my life. It's not pure work. I love playing badminton. I love going to places. I love traveling, and I love reading books. Plus, I'm if you want to know, I'm a non-contact sports kind of guy. So I want to play badminton, frisbee. So yeah, so that's why I'm here, and that's why my background.
Okay, thank you, Argel, for those info about yourself. Okay, so Argel, are you ready to get this party started?
Yes.
Okay, so here's my key question, Argel. So when I graduated from the university, I thought that if I'm earning 100,000 pesos, or that's around $2,500 here in Canada, a month,
Mhm.
I'll be happy. But when I got to that point a few years later in my career, I was still not happy. I was still not contented. So I know I'm not the only one who has this question, but Argel, how much money do I really need? The floor is yours.
Okay. So, very good question to start this series of Mr. Colas Angeles. And how much money do you really need? Before we get to the meat of the discussion, I'd like to emphasize why it's important to properly manage the money, because how much you earn is not important. It's how much you keep and save and invest. So the question is, how important is it? I have statistics that say people who worked from age 25 to 65. So that's 40 years. People who work from 25 to 65, only 5%, only 5% of those people are financially comfortable. Meaning, they don't have to work. Of course, they don't want to work at age 65. They have enough money to live comfortably, and they don't depend on other people for them to survive. So only 5%. So of course, I want to ask everyone, if you want to join the 5% when the time of your retirement comes. Do you want to join the 5%? Of course, I know every one of you wants to be part of that 5%. Yes, so if you say yes, kindly comment below that you want to join the 5%. And a part of that pie, so the 5% are comfortably living during retirement. 54%, more than half, are still dependent, meaning they cannot sustain their lifestyle by the time they retire. So here in the Philippines, there's a cycle that I want to change. The cycle of dependence of the parents. Because a lot of people that I've coached, a chunk of their salary or their earnings go to supporting their parents or supporting their siblings, for example, their family, their more importantly the parents. Because why? Their parents wasn't able to prepare for the retirement. And some parents, I'm not sure if the parents are the same, but some parents make their children as their retirement fund. So the parents should not do that. And since I'm talking to you guys and we are millennials, I want to shift the millennial mindset that we can empower ourselves to become independent during our retirement years. So retirement doesn't mean that you retire at age 60. Retirement is when you want to retire, or when you retire, you just work not because you want to. Oh no, not because you have to, but because you want to. So that for me is ideal retirement. You just work not because you have to, but because you only want to. So what's worse with the pie that I'm talking about was 36%, so 54% are still dependent, 36% are still working. So can you imagine at age 65, you still wake up early in the morning, go to work for 8 to 10 hours a day, go back home, and then do that for the next few years of your life, since you cannot sustain your lifestyle because you didn't prepare for retirement. So you don't want to be part of that percentage. So the remaining 5% of those 40 years people of working, the remaining 5% are didn't survive until age 65. So let's not go dwell on that. So you might be asking why. Why are there only 5% of the people who worked for 40 years, 40, are the ones who are comfortable or financially free? So there are three reasons for that. First reason is because first reason is because they lack financial education. So again, this is a major problem locally because it's not part of any curriculum. Even though I talk to accountants, even though I talk to financial management students, financial management graduates, they don't have an idea how to manage their personal finances. Because what's taught in their courses or in school was company level in or industry level of managing the finances, company level. But when it comes to their personal finances, they cannot apply what they learned. So that's the number one reason why a huge chunk of Filipinos are not ready for, or a huge chunk of the population are not ready for retirement. Number two, second reason is, so of course, people may have financial education, but number two, they might not have a financial plan. So they attended seminars, they read books, they have mentors, but they don't apply what they learn by having their own financial plan. So that's the second reason. The third reason, you may have financial education, you may have your financial plan, very good. But on the third side, you don't have a financial coach. A financial plan may be good, but if you just did it and you do not implement it with a coach or someone to guide you or to check on you throughout your financial journey, you will still be part of those who wasn't ready for retirement. So that's the three main reasons why a huge chunk of the population are not ready, or they don't have the money that they really need, the money that they really need for retirement or for their other goals for that matter. So before we go into the financial coaching side, we have to know the bigger picture. So first, you have to know where you want to be. So that's your point B. And if you have a point B, of course, there's a point A. Point A is where you are now. So for us to understand the bigger picture, let's break it down. So first, let's talk about financial goals. If you've ever heard of, since we are early on in 2018, a lot of people are setting New Year's resolutions, which are good for like 2 to 3 months. So these goals should be driven by our why. So why do we like to achieve those goals? So those goals can be separated. So of course, in financial planning, there are three main types of goals in terms of the time period. So there are long-term goals. These are goals that we target for 10 or more years. So mid-term goals, maybe it's the 5 to less than 10 years. And the short-term goals, those goals that you want to achieve within the next 5 years. So you can categorize your goals and separate it depending on when you need that goal or when you want to achieve it. And another part of financial goal setting is to establish our financial foundations. So this topic is very crucial because this is the one that wasn't taught to us in school. So the typical financial foundations for personal financial planning is, of course, having your personal safety fund, or sometimes people call it the emergency fund, but I want to call it safety fund because I don't want to save money for an emergency. I want to save money for safety. So safety fund is composed of 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses. 3 to 6 months. So you have to save this somewhere that will be accessible to you because it can be used for emergencies. So what are the emergencies? Medical emergencies. Maybe you lost your job or you have to repair your car that you use for work and other emergencies. So a sale in the mall is not an emergency, okay? So that's one part of the financial foundation, having your safety fund. Second is getting life insurance. If you are working and you have dependents, especially a lot of viewers here may be shifting to being a breadwinner already because they're starting their own family, they have their first kid. So having life insurance ensures that your family and your family's dreams will not die along with you in case of untimely death. So what happens is the life insurance will make sure that your dependents can live for a certain period of time for them to replace the loss of income. So when you talk to a financial coach, you can compute this amount. We call it the protection fund. So aside from the protection fund, you also have your own health fund. So the health fund, so this is also one of the major problems here in the Philippines. I know healthcare in Canada is better or more supported. But here the Philippines, yeah, actually free. So here in the Philippines, you have to have your own health fund. Yes, your companies, if you're employed, yes, your companies may have health maintenance organizations or HMOs affiliated with you, but it can only cover so much, like around a quarter of a million, 250,000. However, the dreaded diseases in the Philippines cost around or at least a million. So the top three: cancer, stroke, and heart attack. Those are the top three most costly illnesses. And if we don't have the health fund, your other goals will suffer. Or worse, you might have to liquidate it at a loss, or much worse than that, you have to go into debt. So if you don't have a layer of protection of health fund, you are taking more risk in terms of your family and also your investments. And so those financial foundations are needed for us to start investing. So after we build our foundation, that's the time where we can invest for our financial goals. So financial goals, there are tangible goals like your house and lot, or you want to buy your own vehicle, you want to start a business, you want to have a major travel with your family. So it depends on you. So this will be the topics or the goals that you will be discussing with your personal financial coach. Because again, since this is personal finance, it's very personal. My goals will be very different from yours. And to support those goals, because goals are nice to have, but we have to support the goals with systems. So these systems are, to make it simple, the habits to support the goal. Because what makes people deviate from their goals are the lack of habits to support the goal. So when it comes to money, the the pattern of saving money or setting aside a portion of your money is very important to build upon. Especially if you're just starting with work, or maybe you're you're working for a long time, but when you check your savings or your investments, it's as if you're just working for like a year, 2 years, 3 years. So you have to check your habits. So the very basic concept in personal finance is to pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. Instead of, so if you're earning income, for example, you're employed, if you're earning income, what usually happens is when the income arrives, you spend for all your expenses, and if there's anything left, that's what you save. More often than not, no, there will be nothing left for saving. So what we have to do is to jumble the formula. So we have to shift. So when your income arrives, you save first because you earn that. You're the one who worked for that income or for the profit, for that revenue. And then after you're saving, that's when you spend for your expenses. So that's the very basic concept in personal finance. Now, you might be asking, how much should I set aside? So there's a rule of thumb that we use as financial coaches. The target, the ideal target is 20%. 20% of your income should be set aside for saving. Now, in the recently enacted train law, I'm sure you have bigger take-home pays this year as compared to last year. So I expect every one of you to save more this year. So the percentage for that, so I don't go for a fixed amount, because when your income increases, your savings should also increase. So we use a percentage. So aside from that, so the 20% for savings, I also advocate a portion of your income, you have to give it away. So you can, we call it tithing. We can call it tithing. We can call it charitable donations. I can call it giveaway fund. So what happens when you have this giveaway fund or this tithe is it trains your mindset that you have more than enough. So it trains you that you have more than enough because you can give away your 10% in that regard. So the remaining 70% is what you set aside for expenses. So that's for all the bills that you have. Now, a lot of people will ask or will complain, Argel, I can't do 20%. Argel, I can't do 10%. My income is not enough. I spend everything. I spend everything. I don't have anything left for saving. So this pattern or this division of your income can be changed because what's important for me is the habit, not the amount. So if you want to build the habit, you can start with the percentage that you're comfortable with. So you can compartmentalize your income into three. So you give away, you save, and then you spend. So it depends on the amount you're comfort or the percentage that you're comfortable with. You can start with 1% and then gradually go up to 10% for your giveaway fund. And then for your saving, maybe 5%, start with 5%. Next month, try 6%. And until you reach the ideal amount of 20%. So another crucial step, so that's the 10-20-70 rule. Another crucial step for you to determine how you really manage your money is to track your expenses. So you can do this manually. So some people like the old school way, like they have a small notebook that they bring around and then they list down their expenses every time they spend. So when they commute, for example, where they prepare for their fare, they buy lunch, they buy snacks, they list down everything on the paper. Another option is to create an Excel file or a spreadsheet where you log your expenses. So if you are facing your monitor, for example, for like 8 hours in a day or like a huge chunk of your day, you can set aside a few minutes of your work time to list down your expenses in the Excel sheet or the spreadsheet, whatever spreadsheet you use. And the third option, which is what I use, is to use a mobile app. Use a free mobile app to track your expenses. So you can find lots of free expense managers or money managers in App Store or Google Play. Just look for features that have the summary to summarize your expenses, and you can categorize your expenses. So once you have that habit, you can now control the money that goes in and goes out from your pocket.
Arjun,
Because
sorry to interfere. For the app, do you have any specific recommendation? Because we are techies here. Millennials are techies, right? Do you have a specific app in your mind?
I use Money Lover.
Okay.
It's not a good app name, but that's what I use.
Okay.
Because the love of money is the root of all evil. But
Okay.
it's a good app, and I upgraded to premium because I have lots of money wallets or jars that I use to organize my savings and expenses. Money Love. Available for iOS and Android.
Thank you. Thank you, Arjun.
Okay. So now you have your tracking of expenses because Why is that important? Peter Drucker said, if you know Peter Drucker, um, what you don't measure, you can't improve. So if you don't measure or track your expenses, how can you expect to improve the level of saving or to improve the categories of your expenses that maybe you're overspending or maybe you're underspending if you don't track it? So that's one important um, rule. So after the habits, if you've built the habits, you have your safety fund in place, you have your financial foundations in place, life insurance, your health fund. Now you're ready to invest. So if you have the 20% savings and you've already built your safety fund, now you can invest in more profitable investment vehicles. So there are lots of investment vehicles, but we can categorize it in um, three. So maybe businesses. So you can invest in a business or an enterprise. Second, you can invest in paper assets. And third, you can invest in real estate. So for paper assets, these are this is where the stock market falls, foreign exchange, um, mutual funds, and all the intangible investments. Businesses, you can franchise, you can angel invest if you have lots of cash, you can start your own business, you can buy a business. And for real estate, you can buy and sell real estate, you can have rental properties, or you can build and sell real estate or homes. So this will be, again, very personal. So this is what you discuss with your financial coach because not every investment is for everyone. The coach fits it into your expertise, of course, your skills, your knowledge, your experience. So, and also it should correspond to your goals. So the type of vehicle should be tailor fit for the goals that you want to hit. So now, to um to tickle your curiosity. So if you are curious, Argel, you want to ask me, Argel, what's the best investment for me? So the best investment is an investment in yourself. Invest in yourself first. So read books, attend seminars, seek coaches, and find some mentors who have already been to where you want to be. So you can attend their seminars, you can buy their books, you can have personal coaching with them. And because if you want to visualize, um, if, for example, your level as a person is this container. So, for example, this container can only have like 100,000 pesos per month income. If an opportunity comes and you have a container, yourself is just 100,000 peso person. So your self worth or how you see yourself, you can only earn 100,000. And there's an opportunity that gives you 200,000, for example. If you pour that amount of blessings or opportunity to your container, you can only keep your amount of container. So you can only keep up to 100,000. So what happens to the excess? Let's say I have a 5-gallon container and I pour it in this 1-liter container. If I pour it here, the excess will just be spilled. So I won't be able to contain or to receive that amount of blessing. So how do I get more blessings? I have to grow myself. How do I grow myself? I read books, I attend seminars, I seek mentors, I have coaches, and of course, I apply everything that I learn. So that ends my quick overview of how much money do you really need. So again, to summarize, you have to have your goals. You have to know why you want to achieve those goals. Is it for yourself? Is it for your family, your child, your children? Why? What will make you do the things that will be required to achieve those goals? Because once you know your why, the how will just follow. And again, start building your habits, track your expenses, pay yourself first. And once you've laid your foundation down, your financial foundation of safety fund, your insurances, your health fund, start exploring investing because banks or savings accounts is not enough. So that's it. So let me turn you over to Pulas to share his insights too and maybe wrap the discussion for or open it for Q&A in a bit. So go ahead.
Okay, so Argel, thank you for those facts and learnings, right? So I love the last statement wherein you need to invest in yourself because most of the time we invest outwards, either to our family, to our friends, but we forget about ourselves. So I love that idea of investing towards yourself, right? So on the coaching side, everyone, on the life coaching side, so Argel talked about the financial coaching side, right? But then there are overlaps in terms of the life coaching side. So I want to impart to you three points on how you can determine how much money do you really need. So first is what's your relationship with money? You have to determine that because at the end of the day, money is there. It's like a loved one, right? So money is always there. You just have to determine what your relationship with it is. So do you think money is the root of evil? Do you think people who like money are greedy, right? And do you love money or do you hate money? So you always have a choice to make a lot of money but still keep your integrity and your soul. Wanting money is not equal to being greedy, but living for money is, right? So I want you guys to define what's your relationship with money. Is it like your boss? Is it like your slave? Is it a tool and so on? Because once you determine that, you'll know how to get along with it, just like all the relationships that you have. So second pointer, know where you currently are and know where you want to be. I know Argel has discussed this, but I would like to emphasize this because if you don't know where you currently are, how will you know where you want to be? Okay, so do you know how much money you are currently making? Do you have an idea how much you want? What kind of life do you really want to have when you already have that money? Right. So the more money you have, the more money you can share, and do you have and the better the life you have and the people around you. Now, no one is stopping you from living a simple life, but don't be bothered by people who are living the dream because they make a lot of money. The moment you compare what other people have that you don't have is the moment you start second guessing yourself. The moment you think that money is evil, the moment you become jealous, the moment you self-pity. Believe that there is abundance of money and it's just out there. You just have to manifest it once you know how much you really want. So think of it as a race. If you know the start point and the finish line, it's just a matter of doing the hustle to finish the race at your own pace and at your own time. Third point, why do you want to be there? Why do you want to have this amount of money? So most often, we want to have a lot of money, but we don't know the real reason why. Just like me when I was earning the salary that I thought was all I ever need. So I thought that if I have 100,000, excuse me, uh, I'm set for life. I'm good. I'm happy. I'm contented. But you know what? After a few years, I reached that point. I was still not happy. So yeah, know why you want to have that amount of money. Probably we are coming from a place of lack. Probably we want to fulfill our dreams or just to brag and prove ourselves to others, right? So all my clients know this. Whenever they want to achieve or do something, I ask them their why. I challenge their why because your why is the reason why you are doing anything in the first place. And depending how deeply rooted your why is, the more you are ready to face challenges along the way and more likely to succeed. So, millennials, if you want to live a simple life or want to have an extravagant one, always think about your why. This makes the difference between success and failure. Okay, so that ends my 3 points. And we are now opening the table for Q&A. So if you have questions, comment in the comment box, and I will display your question. But for the time being, while waiting for people to ask their questions, I have some people who send over prepared questions to me, Argel, if you are okay with it.
Sure. Shoot.
Okay. So the first question I have is, how do you start your personal financial plan?
Oh, good question. Of course, you have to seek a financial services professional. So if you want to develop your personal financial plan, you can go and approach financial planners or financial advisors that have the competency and they have the background, they have the track record that you want to have, because having a financial coach or a financial planner is a lifetime journey. It's a lifetime commitment because you have me as a financial coach. I have to be there every step of the way, every milestone of my client, every time there's a new goal or every time there's a new change in their life. So they have to want to have a relationship with their financial planner, a close relationship with regards to planning out their finances. So seek out financial planners. Have a sets of questions maybe before meeting with one. So usually we as financial planners ask a lot of questions, but also we encourage people to ask questions because again, a lot of personal finance topics and issues are not discussed even at home. Even if even in the classroom it's not discussed. Even at home it's like taboo, especially here in the Philippines. So
Yeah.
be prepared to have a lot of questions also because me personally as a financial planner, I like healthy discussions with regards to why they are in their financial situation now. Again, I believe also in the money beliefs or the money relationships you have is or are something that you get from either your parents or how your siblings managed money, how your parents manage money. Do they fight about money? Do they keep money discussions away from you guys? So without that mindset or without knowing the deeper belief of why you spend most of your money, for example, we can't really address the habit issue, for example, or why you are in your financial situation today. Because there are people who are self-sabotaging their success, for example, or they have. This is funny if you can, if you hear this for the first time, but there are people who fear success. So maybe you can talk to your financial coach about that, or you can let Kulas extract those beliefs
Yeah.
and let him plant new beliefs in you, because of course we live in an abundant world, and we deserve everything that we want in life.
Okay, thank you, Argel. So that means everyone, if you are in doubt, hire a coach or find a coach that will, really help you financial wise, life wise, or career wise, or in whatever aspects of your life that you want to improve on. Okay, thank you, Argel, for that. So everyone, if you have questions, just put it in the comments and we'll try to display it. Okay, but for the time being, we still have a couple of questions here. Okay, so we have a question from our good friend Rogin. Okay, so Kulas, when you migrated to Canada, what did it take in terms of time and effort to reach that stage when you started saying that you and your family is financially stable? Okay, good question, Rogin. No, so going to Canada, it's actually a big adventure for us. Leaving the Philippines where our friends are, our family are. So it takes a lot of time and effort for us to establish ourselves here. I've said we've been here for 2 years, right? But the good thing about Canada is that they support you health wise, meaning you don't have to worry about your health. So that's a plus. In terms of education, they will support you. You have free education until high school. So you only have to think about the university. Right? So in terms of financial stability, Canada is giving you the opportunity to think about yourself and your family. So that means if you come here young, right, with a young family, you have that amount of time to stabilize yourself, buy yourself a home, prepare for your kids' education, right? Because the government is spending a lot of its tax money to the people. So I love giving tax money here because I feel that it's working for me. So uh, I can honestly say, Rogin, that we are a bit stable, but again, we are just here for the last 2 years, right? And I'm looking on a bright future in terms of financial stability here in Canada. Of course, I invest. I invest as well in the company stocks. I also have mutual funds. I have a financial advisor here in Canada because I would have hired Argel, but loss here in Canada is a little bit different. So I have to stick with someone who is a financial expert here in Canada. So yeah, Roger, I hope it answered your question. Okay, so
Ask more questions,
yeah, ask
guys.
more questions. We love it. Okay, so while waiting for another question in the comment, Argel, this is a burning question actually. Do you really have to put 10% of your salary into tithes? Isn't it too much? Like, this is actually another question of mine. So, say if I'm earning 100,000, do I need to put in, you know, 10,000 of my money to others? Can you answer that?
Yes. So thank you for that question. Um, Actually, another burning question with regards to tithing or giving away is, do I tithe the gross or the net of my income?
Good question.
So for me, I want to start with the habit. So the amount does not matter. The habit does. So if you're a little uncomfortable with the 10% at first, especially if you're starting with like 100,000 already, because when I started practicing that habit, I have lesser income. So in terms of that, you can start, let's say, if you want to build the habit, so you can start with 5%, or if you cannot really start with 5%, try a little lower, but aim for the 10. Aim for the 10%. Again, it trains us again for mindset of abundance, meaning I don't need this 10%. I can give it away to those who can't give back to me because I have more than enough. So you can start with lower than 10% if you want to haggle your, since here in the Philippines, the tax is already um, deducted before you get your money. So you can do it with your net pay first. But try to strive for the 10%. And I'm telling you, a lot of doors will open. You'll meet a lot of people that will open new opportunities for you, especially if you have this giveaway fund, because it really opens the gates of abundance. So if you don't trust us, just do it. So we
Yeah.
dare you to do it, and then one day you can chat us up and then tell us that, okay, wow, it really works. I'm an abundant person. I'm now tithing 10%. So that as coaches, I know Kulas will agree, as coaches, these testimonials keep us going.
Yeah.
We know that you have implemented your action plans.
Yeah, that's right. So in line with that, Argel, for tithing, I used to not believe that tithing works. So when I came here to Canada, I religiously tithe, right? And you know what? I don't care how much money. I just give money, and you know what? It comes back tenfolds. So tithing is really something that we as a family is doing religiously now, because the amount of money that came back to us compared to the money that we've given away is is very little. So we encourage you to tithe. It doesn't have to be 10%. As long as you give away money for the greater good, right? It will come back to you. It's a promise.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. Okay, so
We have a
we have a question. So hi Corey. Corey is my classmate in high school now. So hi Colas, what can you say about handling setbacks, especially if you experience financial loss like unexpected attrition at work that end up losing your job? Argel, do you have an insight on this?
Yeah. Thanks for your question, Corey. Is that right?
Yeah.
Again, um, you have to set aside your safety fund. So if you were able to catch up earlier, the safety fund is where you set aside at least 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses, which means, for example, your monthly expenses, so all your food, your expenses, your utilities, it's, let's say it's around 20,000 a month. You should have at least 60,000 to 120,000 kept in a savings account that you can access immediately. So for example, if you lose your job, which is a very possible scenario, um, you can have this buffer of 3 months, at least 3 months, for you to replace the loss of the job. So I know, since we are millennials, we are still at the prime of our working capability. So 3 months is a good buffer for us to set aside the safety fund and for us to replace our income or our loss of the income.
Okay. So yeah, have a safety fund so that whatever happens, the things that are not expected, you have that bucket to get money from, right? So be prepared. Okay. So our good friend James here has a comment, not a question, but a comment. I agree with you both. It is up to our generation to break the cycle of dependency of parents to children. It will be a big challenge because we aim to be the transition generation. Yeah, and I actually agree with Argel on this one, and with you, James, that we as millennials still support our parents, right? So hopefully, when we become old and we are a parent, our parents ourselves, we don't use our our children as our retirement plan or fund, right? So Argel, do you have other thoughts about this?
Yes, I agree. I agree with you, James and Kulas. And yes, it's a very, very, very daunting task for us financial coaches because it's really hard to, it's a challenge to set aside something for yourself while supporting your dependents, so the parents, for example. So what I want to trigger also to those people who are watching is to broaden your mindset that you can earn more. So you cannot make your parents, for example, or your dependents as an excuse not to have more income or to explore more opportunities. You're not a victim. Don't have a victim mentality
Yeah.
that because, oh, my parents are dependent on me, that's why I can't buy what I want, that's why I can't travel. So explore more opportunities. You are enough. You are capable, you are enough. And you can have that extra push or extra challenge that you can support your parents now, you can build for your dreams in the future, and have a good life now.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
That's right. That's right. Okay. So I know we are past 11 p.m. there and 10 a.m. here in Canada, right? But we love the questions. So if you want to stay with us, we will be here for another 15 or 30 minutes if you want, just to answer your questions. So Argel, we've exhausted the questions in our comment box. Hopefully they will ask another question, but I have a few more questions here. So how much do I usually pay for a financial coach?
For a financial coach, so here in the Philippines, so good question. For here in the Philippines, since we are still a very, very young transition or in a young stage in terms of financial planning, most people who are financial advisors or financial planners are connected to financial institutions or let's say insurance companies. So most of them, like myself, if um, you get a financial plan from me, um, I don't charge anything in the first meeting. So you can give a brief overview of where you are now, where you want to be, what are your needs, how can I fill the gap. And I don't charge on the first meeting. So if you want a full-fledged financial plan, that's when RFPs or registered financial planners can come in. So usually a financial plan costs 5,000 pesos for one plan. And every time you consult or update the plan, that's another 5,000. But since very, very few people or part chunk of the market will avail of that service, it's not that regulated yet. So it's not very, for me, how I see it, it's not yet that lucrative because the problem or the challenge here is saving. So we're that in that stage still. So saving. So as financial advisors, we suggest savings plans that can address multiple problems or can have multiple solutions for one plan. So for example, you don't have insurance yet, you don't have health fund yet, but you want to start investing now. There's a plan that can address those three challenges or those three concerns in one plan. And then once the habit of saving is okay, that's when we can explore or branch out to different um, more financially savvy instruments, like directly investing in stocks or foreign exchange or businesses. So again, it still boils down to the habit.
Yeah. And I got that. I get that question a lot to Arjel. How much do you charge as a life coach? Right. So again, the reason why I really like what Arjel said about investing in yourself is because you are not investing in a coach, right? When you invest in a coach is actually investing in yourself, right? So you ask yourself, how much do I want to invest on myself, right? Because at the end of the day, the coach will be there. The coach will support you all the way, but you are the one doing the work, right? So aside from the money, it's you doing the work. It's the coach just holding you accountable, right? So the money that you are paying the coach is irrelevant, right? Because the more generous you are to yourself, what do you think will the outcome be if that's the case, right? So it doesn't matter if it's $1,000, it's 5,000 pesos or 10,000 pesos. At the end of the day, you are hiring a coach because you want to be better, right? And that investment is priceless, regardless of the price tag that the coach quote you. Okay, so I hope we answered that question. Okay, so we have a lot more questions. Keep it coming, guys. Thank you. So just a comment from Corey. Thanks, Kulas and Argel. Just want to participate. I will highly recommend this to my colleagues, friends. Kudos to both of you. And thank you, Corey, for those kind comments. So Maan Mahusay here has a question. So I shouldn't apply for a credit card if I haven't established a good practice of money management. What do you think, Argel?
Yes, good question, Maan. Um, this is also the trap of the middle class, credit cards. Most people think that having a credit card means having free money. So they swipe away with their credit cards and then pay the minimum of the minimum charge per month, and that's when the debt snowball effect really destroys your cash flow, your income. So yes, you should have established first a good practice of money management. The habits that I've said earlier of paying yourself first, and treat the credit card as convenience. Don't treat this as a source of free money that you can spend more than what you earn. So one trap of credit cards also is spending your future income. So if you see the 0% interest, oh, I can afford that, I can pay that for 12 months. It's good if you have really that budget in mind and you just want to have to pay it in installment. So I just want to share about credit cards. The worst credit card company customers, the worst customers of credit card companies are those who pay the full amount every month. The worst customers of credit card companies are those who pay the full amount every month. And I'm very guilty of that.
Yeah.
I'm one of the freeloaders, so to speak, of credit card companies.
Me too.
Because we pay nothing. We just use the credit card to borrow the money of the credit card company, and we pay it all at the end of the month.
And you earn points, right?
Yes, you don't pay for interest. You earn points, and you get freebies. You can waive your annual fees.
That's right.
Basically, if you go to the platinum level or for the signature level, they are the worst customers. They have free access to lounges. They get all the perks.
Mm-hmm.
And the best customers are those who pay the minimum, because the worst customers are those who pay the minimum. So the minimumers, what I call them, the minimumers are the ones who fund those who don't have any interest charge. So they fund us. They fund me, they fund Last, they fund the platinum card holders. So having that, because it's very tempting. I see my minimum every month. It's like 580 something pesos. It's very tempting to just pay that amount. But don't be tempted. Just pay the whole amount every month and be one of the worst customers. Credit card company with all the perks and freebies.
So Argel, in this instance, it's the best way to be a worse customer, right?
Yeah, so, yes, it's good to be worst.
Yeah. So just as a habit, may I share, here in Canada, it's very easy for us to get credit cards. loans and everything, right? Providing you have a good credit score. But we as a family, when we go for groceries, when we eat out, we use our credit cards. But you know what? I'm really particular about this. We pay the amount we swipe the moment we reach home, right? Because
I see.
at the end of the day, you as if you paid by cash, right? And you don't owe anyone credit, and you earn rebates, you earn points. So yeah, Argel is right. Use credit card to your advantage, right? It's just a card at the end of the day, and use it so that you'll earn something from it rather them earning from you.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have another question here. Thank you, man, for that question. I hope we answered that really well. So we have a question from Ana Zamudjo Quijalbo. So Ana is my classmate from elementary. So is it more advisable to be guided by a financial coach in a country where you are currently living? Argel, what do you think?
Yes. Thank you for that, Anna. Yes, because again, as mentioned by Colas earlier, there are different laws governing investments and how to take advantage of those laws or those investment products native to a country will be best provided or will be best suggested by a local financial coach where you are living. And for example, if you're like Kulas, who want to stay in Canada and then looking for retirement, like going back home in the Philippines, that's the time where you can have multiple financial coaches. So you have a financial coach while you're staying in Canada, for example, and then you have a financial coach in the Philippines preparing your one part, for example, of your retirement basket. So when you go home, you have investments here and abroad, for example.
Yeah, so I'll be sure to hire Argel when I come home and retire. Hope we are still able to, to when I come home, right? Okay, so thank you for that, Anna. Hope you answered that, and keep your questions coming. I only have one more left, one question left in my bucket here. So if you have other questions, just post it in the comment box. Okay. So last question I have is: I'm healthy. I earn a lot. Do I need life insurance and a health fund? That's a question from Dale. So what's your answer to that, Argel?
Very good question, actually. So the answer to that is now is the best time to get life insurance because you can only get life insurance and health insurance when you don't need it. Because once you need it, you can no longer have it. So a lot of people, they have lots of money, they have the capacity to pay for the health insurance, for example, but they have already this hospital history or illness history. It can no longer help them, even though they have the money to invest, even though they have the capacity to pay for the plan. They can no longer help them because they're no longer qualified due to their current situation. So the best time to get life insurance and to get health insurance is when you're healthy and able. So
Yeah.
very, very good question.
Okay. So yeah. So friends, if you are healthy and you earn a lot, get a life insurance and a health fund. Okay. So we don't have any more questions. Probably let's start saying goodbye. And so I would like to thank everyone who stayed with us all throughout the call. I know we've extended for 15 minutes, but I will be posting the replay in this group, and Arjo will be posting. Oh wait, we have another question. So I will do my outro later. Okay. So
Buzzer
this is
beater.
yeah, this is for from James, our good friend James. So James is our batchmate in the
Yes.
university. Yeah, he is a computer science guru. Okay, so for Kulas, did you give up your investment in sorry in Philippines when you migrated to Canada, or maybe is it advisable to maintain investments in more than one country? So honestly, I've liquidated some of my investments in the Philippines because we needed that money here in Canada. But I still have a good amount of money still invested in the Philippines. I have stocks there, and I have mutual fund as well. So it depends on how much you need your money because, and sometimes if I have extra money here, I still pour it in the Philippines because one Canadian dollar is now 40 pesos, right? So I can buy a lot of stocks using my Canadian dollar. So, but I do invest in the Philippines and in here in Canada. Okay, so I hope I answered that, James.
Can I add to that?
Oh, sure, Argel.
So, aside from having more bang for your buck here in the Philippines, you also contribute to nation building.
Yeah.
Because since you invest in companies here in the Philippines, you give it more capital to grow, to expand their business, and in turn, it will go back to the country's economic state. So, GDP, it contributes to the GDP, to the gross domestic product. So, thank you for that, Kulas, that you're still contributing to nation building here in the Philippines. So, of course, we still have that Filipino heart. That's why we want investments here. And I just want to add, since Kulas mentioned the stock market, only less than 1% of the population here in the Philippines invest in the stock market.
Oh no.
They are leaving a lot of money in the table for us who invest in the stock market. So if only we put it or we raise it up to a notch like 2% or finally going to 1%, it really has a lot of multiplier effect here in the country because a lot of fluctuations in the stock market. I will be a bit technical. A lot of fluctuations here in the stock market is caused by foreign funds moving out of the Philippines. So if a lot of local money are invested in the Philippines, because there are trillions and trillions of, yes, you heard that right, trillions of pesos in the savings account being eaten up by inflation. So, I don't have the exact BSP data, but it's in the trillions. Imagine shifting a portion of those savings into the stock market. It if you check the level of the stock market level today, it's around 8.5. I'm not sure, but it's 8.5 something. If we shift those stagnant savings accounts to the stock market, it will really rocket. It will really shoot up the prices of the stocks. It will really grow our economy. We won't be rattled by foreign funds going out of the country.
Yeah.
And again, more businesses, more employment, more investors being confident investing here in the Philippines. So there's a lot of multiplier effect if we really push for investing not only in the stock market, maybe in the mutual fund if you're still learning the ropes in the stock market but you want to participate. So you can directly go to the stock or just invest in a mutual fund, just set aside instead of saving in the bank.
Okay. So Argel, in line with that, I have a question. So if I am a millennial, right, I want to start converting my savings account into stock market investments. Do I do it myself or a financial coach can help me do that?
Depends on the level of knowledge and expertise. So if you're not that confident yet, I can suggest mutual funds first. So what's awesome about the mutual funds I offer is as low as 1,000 pesos, you can already open an equity mutual fund.
Okay.
Which invests in the top 30 companies. So the Ayalas, the SMs, the San Miguels, you already have owned a portion of them with your, so if you want to show the 1,000 peso bill, so with that 1,000 peso bill, Every time you walk in the mall, every time you see people eating in Jollibee, for example, take a part of that profit. So that's how easy it is to take part in the market now.
Mhm. And you know what? This was a advice given to me when I was just starting out in the stock market. So I was playing it safe back then, and one great advice that was given to me was to just invest so that you are comfortable. Just invest the money that you won't be using in the stock market. Say, yeah, savings is a form of money that you won't be using, right? Eventually. So why not invest it in the stock market? So that made me feel safe, right? Because this is an excess money for me. I'll just invest it in the stock market. What do you think about that, Arjun?
Yeah, that's good to start with that mindset. Um, and of course, as a financial planner, I want every investment to be tied to an objective.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't tie an objective to the investment, it's so easy to get money from it. For example, you have profit. Oh, I gained 10%. I want to liquidate and treat my friends or want to travel. But if you tie a objective, for example, in 3 years from now, the funds I get from the stock investments I have, I'll use to augment our wedding fund, for example, or the honeymoon, or I want to have a down payment in my future home. So if you tie it to an objective, you won't be easily distracted by the short-term gains or the short-term losses, especially in the
Mm-hmm.
stock market.
Yeah,
You know how
that's
volatile it is. But if you set your sights in the goal, in the time period for that goal, it's a better, let's say, a compass to navigate the financial investments,
that's right.
for your personal financial investment.
Okay. So, Maan Mahusay here has a comment. Thank you for the great insight. Best to be a worse customer. We should quote that, right? Best to be a worse customer. You credit card companies. You. Okay. So we'll definitely recommend this video to family and friends. Thank you. Thank you, Maan. Jekoy Lanorio. Jekoy is an office mate of mine before in the Philippines. So, Kulas, I'm getting better now with my financial income. Before, it was a disaster because of my loans. Any suggestion about loan process? Just advice to others. So probably what he is asking here, Argel, is how do you pay? How do you get a loan, and how do you pay for it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the
Okay,
best
so
way.
yes, thank you, Jekoy. For loans, different company or different banks offer different kinds of loans for different purposes. So again, let me be a coach. So there are two kinds of debt. There's good debt and there's bad debt. So let me ask you, why would you need a loan? So if this debt will be like to finance a business, or maybe you want to get a car for an Uber, for example, and what you earn from that investment pays for the debt, that's a
Yeah.
good debt. Because a good debt puts money in your pocket. A bad debt, on the other hand, takes away money from your pocket. So that's how you want to look at debts. It's debt is not good, debt is not bad. It's neutral. It's how you use the debt. More like money. Money is neutral. So to answer your question about the loan process, usually, of course, they want to check your financial background. How much loan can they let you borrow, and for what purpose? And I want to highlight the debt to income ratio. So it might sound technical
Wow.
for it's a jargon, but as a rule of thumb, all the debts that you pay with your income, let's say your monthly debts that you pay, you should keep it to below 35%. So if you're earning, let's say, 100,000 in a month, the amount of money that you pay for debts should be less than 35% of 100,000. Anything above that percentage, it means you're over leveraged,
Mm-hmm.
meaning you have too much debt. If you are below that, you're in a healthy level of debt because having that buffer makes you more willing, the banks will be more willing to loan you more money. For example, you want to expand your business, you want a new branch, for example. So remember the 35%. If you compute your debts, all the debts you pay with your income, and it's more than 35%, it's time to let go of them. Let go of some of your debts or pay them out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's right. Okay, so we've exhausted again the comments, right? So again, we will now say goodbye. Okay, so I would like to thank everyone who stayed with us all throughout the call. So we still have 7 viewers actively participating with us, and I will be posting the replay in this group. Argel will be posting the replay as well in his group. And if you have any questions, send it to me through private message or email me at mnangeles@moveforwardandup.com. Argel, do you have an email that we can use for their questions so that they can reach to you directly?
Yeah, they can email me at contact@argeltiburcio.com.
Okay, so yeah, thank you. So Argel, thank you very much for joining me in this webinar. Anything you want to promote? Any final thoughts?
Yes, thank you again. Thank you everyone for staying with us during the webinar. I want to let you know that I'm a licensed financial advisor from Film Life here in the Philippines. And I'm also a certified investment solicitor, meaning I can offer the mutual funds that I was talking about earlier that you can start for as low as 1,000 pesos. And also, I have released my book, The 10 Simple Steps to Surely Save Money. And this is only available in my website, www.argeltiburcio.com. You can see the link there, buy my book, and you can order there through that link. It's only 249 pesos. But if you say that you have attended the webinar or you've seen this video, I can offer it for only 199 because
Wow.
you are a good friend of Kulas and me, of
Yes.
course.
Yes. Yes.
So if you've watched until this very last moment, because this is where I declared the discount, so it's only 199. So don't it's a secret between us because you've stayed this far in the webinar, and we want to reward that kind of behavior because you're growing yourself, right, Kulas? They are
Yes.
growing themselves. This is a good start for you. And I know Kulas has many series of talks, and we would like to see you again next time for those series. And again, www.argeltiburcio.com. And yes, you can see the topics in that website. 10
Oh.
simple steps to surely save money.
Okay, so I actually ordered that book. Arjun said that it's in the airplane now or in the ship, right? So I'm excited to receive my copy. Once I have it, I'll be sure to post it on my Facebook and even in our Facebook group, right? So as for me, make more money, make money work for you. Don't hate money. Don't be envy of the people who have money. If you are happy with being simple, that's fine. If you are all for abundance, that's fine as well. The thing is, we are the one who define how much money we really need. And at the end of the day, people won't just hand over money to us. And we won't suddenly hit a lotto jackpot. So millennial friends, we have to work in order to get money. Okay? So Filipinas, have a good night. Canada, have a good rest of the day. And see you in our next episode of the How Much Do You Really Need series next month. Again, thank you, Argel, for joining us and staying with us and answering those questions. I hope to see you again next month for another topic relating to us millennials. So, okay. So, goodbye for now. Thank you.